Good morning, everybody. How are you? Thank you for joining me today. Welcome. This is Mornings with Marc, which I do every day at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So I hope you are having a good Wednesday. It's Wednesday already. I have to apologize. I was not on either Monday or Tuesday, so I am a little behind, but hopefully today we can do some catch-up and talk about some things that happened over the weekend, and we'll go from there. So thank you for joining me. I am currently in I like to call it my home office, away from home, sitting in the coffee shop. For some reason the Wi-Fi is not working, so I don't have any connections to the internet at the moment, so normally I would share this out, but I'll have to do it after the show. So if you are catching this on the replay, I want to thank you for hopping in. Hopefully we'll get some interaction today, but we'll see. So yeah, it's a cold one out today. The temperature dropped drastically here in Rhode Island. It was about 22 degrees, I think, this morning, plus with the wind chill. So it's in the teens. It's in the teens. Hello, how are ya? So yeah, and I know I get some people on here that are from the Florida area, Southern California. So you have no idea what a wind chill is, but it is not fun. Wind chill is what happens when it gets cold and you step outside and like the wind feels like spikes on your face. It's miserable, but it's part of living in New England. So here we are. So yes. First thing I wanted to talk about today was a conversation I had with my son on. Actually, it was yesterday when I picked him up from school, and he was talking about how he doesn't like to get called on in school. And the reason for that is because my son's a very smart kid, like really smart. And so what happened was there's this kind of expectation from him that, hello, how are you? Throw up some emojis, say hello so I know who you are, because unfortunately I can't see the names. I don't have my internet connection, so I usually share this on Facebook and able to kind of keep an eye on things, but I see somebody's on, so say hello so I can say a proper greeting to you. So there's this expectation of him that he's always got the answer, right? And so he doesn't like to get called on in school, because when he does get something wrong, it's Ron, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. There's this kind of expectation that he's going to get it right. And he has this fear that if he gets it wrong, it's going to be like, oh, JD got it wrong, right? And so I thought about that for a little while. And, here's the thing. What I thought about, and I actually thought about this also with Tom Brady, because he obviously just lost kind of a tough game against the Dolphins. Could have been worse. It could have been the Jets, but he lost the game, and all of a sudden everybody comes out of the woodworks. Oh, Tom Brady, right? So as I thought about this, I said, you know what? It's a thing where if you're really good at something, there's that expectation that you're always good at it, and you gotta excuse me. You gotta understand that if you're really pushing yourself and challenging yourself, you're going to mess up. You're going to get some things wrong. And so it's okay to get them wrong. It's okay to kind of push yourself a little bit. And you have to understand that the people that win, right, whether it's sports, whether it's life, whether it's in business, no matter what it is, the people that win are not afraid to lose. And they know that in order for them to get past that, they're going to have to lose sometimes. But it's what they do with it, right? So they don't. Yes, it sucks and it's terrible and nobody likes it. But at the same time, if you are really pushing yourself, then sometimes you're going to lose. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get it wrong. So you know what? I said, don't worry about what they're going to say. Don't worry about, getting it wrong. Just, be you. And he's a shy kid anyway, believe it or not. He is a shy kid. You never know it in the house or when he's with his friends, but, out in the, I call general public, as he says, he doesn't like to talk to a lot of people, especially adults, but that's okay. But he's very reserved, especially when it comes to things like that. And, he has this, I don't want to say burden, because it's not really a burden, but he just has this constant thought that because he is seen as the smart kid, and he is the smart kid, that if he makes a mistake, that it's a big deal. And it's not. And so we kind of had to talk to him about that, or I talked to him about that, because, I didn't want him to feel like, he shouldn't answer the questions, or he shouldn't put himself out there because he's afraid to make a mistake, and he's afraid of what people are going to say. Just, you don't worry about it. And, going back to the Tom Brady thing, I'm sure Tom Brady's not worried about what anybody else is saying. Ron, you're from right here, so you know what it's like being a Patriots fan, and Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady, and they're never worried about last week's game. They're always worried about the next game. So, that's what they're focused on right now. They're not happy about the loss. I know that, but they know that's part of football. It's part of putting yourself out there. A lot of teams, right? Half the teams last week. So, it's going to happen. So don't be so worried about putting yourself out there. Don't be so worried about getting things wrong, because it is. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, all right, I lost. Oh well, big deal. Yes, it sucks, but you have to learn from it, and you have to grow from it, and you have to be willing to, challenge yourself a little bit and put yourself out there. And it's tough. It's definitely tough, because, like I said, nobody likes to lose. But one of the things that I actually heard this quote not that long ago, is that, and I wish I knew who said it, but that winners lose more than losers. I'm not calling anybody a loser, don't freak out or anything, but the fact that people that win will go through those losses. They're not going to let the losses stop them. They're going to keep going. They're going to keep trying. They're going to fail. They're going to learn from it. They're going to get better, and they're going to fail again. They learn from that, and that's how they go from being good to being great, or just being mediocre to being good, from good to great. So it's all about taking those losses, and they suck, right? They definitely suck. Failure leads to success. Absolutely, Ron, right? So, but it's tough when you're in it, because you don't always see yourself, or you worry if you're going to succeed, or is this going to happen. So it's tough when you're in it. It's a lot easier once you succeed to look back and say, hey, the failures did this, and they made me stronger, and they made me better. But when you're in it, it's a lot harder, because it's not always easy to see where you're going to end up, or it's almost impossible to see where you're going to end up. But you just got to know that if you keep working at it, you'll get there. So, yeah, that was my that was my conversation with my son the other day on the way home from school, because I guess he has a science teacher or something that is, whether he puts his hand up or not, is always calling on him, and so he's like, oh, he has that, he's anxious a little bit because of that. So, but just don't let it get to you. And I know it's tough, especially when he's 12 years old now. So, yeah, it's tough, but gotta go through it, gotta fight through it. So it is what it is. So, all right. So that was my conversation with my son the other day. One thing I want to talk about is the NFL football. As I said, I table, sorry. haven't been on the past couple of days, so I didn't get a chance to kind of go through this and talk about this. And so I kind of have to go by my notes because I don't have, as I said, I don't have any Wi-Fi. So, excuse me. So, but interesting week in the NFL, let me tell you. My Niners won, which was awesome. Jimmy Garoppolo is definitely their quarterback. I think he's certainly put the statement on the past 2 weeks, and he's ready to go. So hopefully that means good things for my Niners. We'll see. Obviously it's a little late this season, but it'll be good for them moving forward into next year and the next couple of years and seeing where they go. So I'm excited for that. As I said, the Patriots lost. Tough game. It just seems like they just were not prepared. The Dolphins' defense was all over them. That the offensive line just had a hard time keeping up and protecting Tom Brady. It's just a messy football game, and it's going to happen. And kudos to Miami. What else can you say? They did awesome. So is what it is. It's just like I said, it sucks. It sucks when it happens, but and what else do I got? Browns. How about them Browns? Right? They came that close to beating Green Bay. That close. Ended up going into overtime against Green Bay. So, but Green Bay last minute overtime pulled it off, got the win. So the Browns are still winless. So if you remember, I talked about this, I think, last week. There is a gentleman in Cleveland who has already received his permit to hold a parade if the Browns go a perfect winless season. So they're going to have a parade if the Browns do not win a game at all for the season. So came that close to having to call off the parade, but I guess the parade, at least for this week, is still on. So I don't know. Cleveland's I guess a weird town, but I don't know if I would want to have a parade if my team went completely winless. But oh well, So as I said, parade is still on, but that was good. And speaking of Green Bay, Ron, did you hear this? Aaron Rodgers has been cleared to play next week against the Vikings. So Aaron Rodgers is back. So that is great news for Green Bay fans. It's going to be interesting because I think he's a tough guy, and so he's out to win. I've always liked Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a good quarterback. Deserves a lot more credit than I think he gets sometimes because he's not considered one of the elite most of the time, but I think he is. I think he's a great quarterback. So it's good for Green Bay to have them back. It's going to be a little rough on the NFC, but the Packers are still in it. They're on that tail edge, but they basically need to win all the next 3 games from now to the rest of the season to stay in the hunt. But they're still there, and with Aaron Rodgers, it's certainly possible. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. So they're definitely in the hunt. So great news for Green Bay. Not so great news for the rest of the NFC, but we'll see. We'll see. I love this time of the year when it comes to football because everybody's fighting for something, and well, not everybody, but most teams are still fighting for something. It's that who's going to be in the playoffs, who's not, who's going to clinch, who won't. When's the next team that's going to be eliminated? I mean, it's just good football. It's just good football now. So it's a battle. Every week is a battle, and it's important to win. Patriots have a tough game this week, going up against Pittsburgh, and then they go Excuse me. My goodness. And then they're playing two conference games. They got the Bills and then the Jets. I know they're playing the Jets last. I don't remember who they're playing. I think it's the Bills. So they got Pittsburgh, and then they got the Bills, and then the Jets. So important couple of games coming up for the Patriots, and it's just a good time of year for football, I think. Just that fun time where, like I said, everybody's fighting for playoff spots and looking to clinch and home field advantage and all that stuff. So it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun time of the year. So that's good. And then Walking Dead. Ron, I don't know if you're a Walking Dead fan. Let me know what your thoughts are on The Walking Dead. But oh man, tough mid-season finale last Sunday. Saw a lot. You are all right. Did you see it? Because I don't want to throw any spoilers out there. Let me know if you saw the show on Saturday. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, on Sunday. Because like I said, I don't want to throw any spoilers. But it's getting tough, and we know, at least if you follow the show a little bit, you know that this whole battle. I'm safe. All right, cool. This whole thing with the Saviors, it's going to end this season. So it's obviously getting really heated, and I like how the show doesn't always follow the comics, because it kind of keeps you guessing. If it followed the comics directly, you would know exactly what's going on, and it certainly wouldn't have to follow that it does. So they're smart about that, because they will shift things and change things. But man, I know last week, if you watched The Talking Dead, he said it's going to be a show we're going to talk about, and they were certainly right. The last few minutes, and I'm having a hard time with it, because I don't know if I agree with it. I don't know if I agree with them killing off Carl. He's such a staple character in this show, and obviously so important to Rick and Michonne, and to kill Carl, I think I don't know if it's going to be good for the show. I don't know if it's going to be good for the storyline. Of course, they're always going to explain, well, they need to do this because of whatever. But I don't know if it's good for the show, and I'm kind of bummed about it. I wish they didn't do it, but it's happening. So it's I don't know. I'm really going back and forth with it, but tough show. But we're seeing the Hilltop kind of be their last resort, if you will. Alexandria fell. That one, we'll see if they recover from that, if they're able to rebuild from it, what they do with it. The kingdom didn't necessarily fall, but the Saviors kind of took it over. So it's kind of occupied territory, if you will. So we'll see if they can get that back, and they probably will, because I'm thinking once they defeat the Saviors, that they'll end up getting the kingdom back. So I think the kingdom the city itself is relatively safe. Hopefully the people are safe, but it's kind of all on the Hilltop at this point. So we'll see what happens with that. Alexandria is in the worst shape. Not to be all that surprised by that. Yeah, exactly, absolutely. And the whole thing is Rick is fighting for his family. He's said that before. It's about him, and his son and his family, and daughter, ish, right? Because there's a whole lot of questions about who's the actual father, although we're pretty confident that it's Shane. But it's still, he's raising Judith as his daughter, so for all intents and purposes, that's what he's fighting for. And we saw that he was grooming Carl to kind of take over for him, to be the leader, and for them to just eliminate him like that, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with it. And then, but the thing is, according to the comics, now, not saying they're going to stay with the comics, but according to the comics, he doesn't kill Negan. Negan stays alive. So I'm thinking that if Carl is dead, that's more reason for Rick to kill Negan, not keep him alive. So I don't understand the process there unless he is going to kill Negan off. But then even in that conversation that they were having while they were walking down the street, when Carl was saying to Rick that we need to save some of them because we need to think about what happens after. But they both agreed that Negan needed to die anyway. So I'm confused by the decision. I really am. I'm confused by it. I don't know. But something may emerge. Who knows with the story? We don't know. Obviously, it all depends on where they take the story. So, it was definitely a surprise that they decided to do that. Sucks, but is what it is. So anyway, that is it for me. That's I'm pretty much done. So I'm gonna go get some work done. But Ron, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. It was good to have the interaction because, like I said, I wasn't able to share this onto my personal page. Excuse me, on my personal page because for some reason the Wi-Fi is not working over here. So I'm having issues with the Wi-Fi. So I will share this after. So if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate you. I hope you have an awesome day, my friend. And everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.